Good morning. My name is Vangile Makwakwa, and I'm going to speak to you about the link between emotions and financial behavior. I also have a book on that called Heart, Mind, and Money, and it's there at the back. But firstly, a little bit about myself. I grew up in a family of really well-educated people. I grew up with electrical engineers, doctors, pharmacists, nurses. But what I noticed at the end of every month was that people in my family were struggling to make ends meet. They were earning money, but they were never able to cover all their expenses. So it came as a shock to me that I went on to do a finance degree at UCT and went to do an MBA, and then found myself in the exact same position as most members of my family, having a lot of education, but still not being able to meet my financial goals and really struggling. Before you can even understand your money code, you have to practice self-awareness. You have to understand what money means to you. If you want to understand what you stand for as a person, honestly, just take a look at where you spend your money. We live in a society where we use money as our voice, as our say. If we believe in social responsibility, we use money to help others. So money is a tool that you can use to connect with your values. That's why it's so important to understand what money means to you. Imagine a scenario where suddenly one of your friends has a brand new car, comes to show it to you, and before you know it, you're starting to think, I'm falling behind, or my favorite that a lot of my friends will say is, nobody can show me up like that. So I actually have to prove that I'm on the same level as everybody else. So suddenly you find yourself having to make a brand new decision that you'd never even thought of. Either get a new car or keep your old car. So that's option A, is keep your old car. Option B is get a new car. If you go with option A, you actually save, instead of paying 5,000 Rand a month, you can save 5,000 Rand a month. You can actually think differently about that money. If you can find money to buy a new car, you can take that very same money to invest into an investment at 12% per annum. If you buy a new car, you're paying out money, not to mention the fact that you're actually spending money on insurance, you're spending money on a whole bunch of other new expenses that you didn't have. With option A, you practice delayed gratification, and that's what emotional intelligence really is. It's about being able to control your emotions. Option B, it's definitely instant gratification. But the most important thing is what happens 5 years later. Under option A, if you saved and invested your money at 12% per annum, you can take all the money that you've been investing, the original capital, and buy a brand new car cash. You can then take the reinvested amount and put it towards retirement. Save that money for, save all that return on investment for another 35 years. You will end up at 12% per annum. You end up with close to 11 million Rand just for retirement. And that's just from 5 years worth of saving and controlling your emotions. And the option B, obviously, you have no savings. You probably need a new car because, face it, it's 5 years later, your friends have moved on, got more expensive stuff, so you still need to keep up. So you're still playing keep up with the Joneses instead of actually following your vision. It's really important to understand why option A works in our favor. When we save, the more money that we save at the end of the month, instead of putting towards expenses, the more we can actually save towards retirement. And when we go to the bank to borrow money for that new car, the bank actually charges us compound interest. That's interest on top of interest. So if you can find a way just to cut back a bit on your expenses and be able to save lots more money towards retirement, you can retire earlier. And honestly, early retirement means an opportunity to start a business, to go after your dreams. At 55, most people are still young. They can start anything and do just about anything that they put their minds to. You've still got time. So if we can just change how we plan our lives, we can change our entire future as well. The very first time I got my paycheck, I curled myself up into a little ball, looked at my bank account, felt really overwhelmed. I'd actually never seen that much money in my bank account ever before. So I went off and I spent all my money on clothes. Everything. I forgot about rent, food, forget it. And then I spent the next part of the month looking for a second job. I kid you not. I wish I was making this stuff up, but I ended up waitressing as well, part-time, so that I could actually pay off my debts. Because to me, I didn't understand what had happened with my money. It was so much, and then suddenly it was very little. But that's because I'd never ever heard of a budget before. Or maybe I had. I mean, I'm a finance graduate, but I'd actually... It was something that I thought, okay, companies employ budgets. Why do I need a budget? It's so restrictive. And honestly, even when I was doing my MBA, I seriously saw budgets as punishments. I thought it was this thing that people give to you just to punish you. And it was very restrictive. So how do you get happy? Some of my tips is to actually pay yourself first. That's the first thing that I tell everyone. You work for a reason. We all work for a reason. We want a life that we can enjoy. We want to make our lives better. So even though people say happiness doesn't come from outside, it all comes from within, there are things that we can do in this moment that give us just a little bit of happiness throughout our lives. I like massages, yoga, I love going on retreats. So I do that because it helps me stay on track with my budget. It doesn't feel like this budget is killing me. So in conclusion, I'd love to leave you with a quote from one of my friends on Facebook. He said, "Money doesn't matter when you have it," to which my response is, money is everything when you don't have it. We need money to live. You can't live in this world without money. So it's better to master your emotions around money than to make money your master. Thank you.
Just had a wonderful, wonderful talk about emotions and money, and I really feel like it's changed my life completely. I have a whole new outlook on my relationship with money. Thank you.
I did find her exceptionally refreshing. So thanks very much, and can't wait to read the book.